Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're setting sail on a really fascinating voyage into the dynamic rules of the sea. Seriously, have you ever just stopped to think about those massive, towering ships crossing our oceans? The ones bringing us literally everything that powers our modern world? Well, behind every single one of those epic cinematic journeys is a crew. So today, we're exploring the very specific, incredibly powerful legal standards that protect these essential maritime heroes. We're going to look directly at the laws structuring their daily lives, their safety, and their rights. Let's dive right in and illuminate the legal framework that keeps the entire global maritime industry afloat. Right off the bat, what's really interesting here is how the law explicitly elevates seafarers to the heroic status of key workers. It doesn't just casually call them employees, it recognizes them as the absolute vital heartbeat of global trade. By officially deeming them key workers, the law legally guarantees their safe and unhindered movement. So, practically speaking, this means they're assured the right to smoothly get on and off vessels, they're absolutely guaranteed that much-needed shore leave to rest after long voyages, and crucially, they're ensured access to shore-based medical treatment when they need it. It's a very clear spotlight on basic, essential human needs set against the vast isolation of the open ocean. So, let's establish our cast of characters and define exactly who operates within this high-stakes maritime world. First up, we have the ship owner. Now, legally, this goes way beyond just the person whose name is on the deed. The ship owner is anyone who boldly steps up to take on the ultimate operational responsibility for the vessel. This could be a manager, an agent, or even a bareboat charterer. Someone who leases the entire ship without a crew. Think of them as the executive producers of this maritime movie. Whoever takes on the ship's operation also explicitly agrees to shoulder the rigorous duties of the Maritime Labor Convention. They are the anchor of accountability. Even if other groups handle the day-to-day tasks, the ultimate legal duty stops entirely with them. Next, we've got the recruitment and placement services. If the ship owner is the producer, these services are the crucial casting agencies. This covers any organization, public or private, whose whole job is recruiting seafarers for employers or placing those seafarers with them. They act as the vital bridge connecting our key workers with their global voyages. And as we're going to see in a minute, their role carries some seriously heavy legal weight. Moving right along to the scope, let's look at exactly who is covered under this protective umbrella. These protections apply universally to every single seafarer. Regardless of any other laws floating around out there, the provisions of this act apply to absolutely anyone employed or engaged as a seafarer. It casts a massively wide net, making sure no key worker is left behind in the shadows. It also specifically binds every recruitment service and every ship owner we just talked about. It basically sets a beautifully clear stage where everyone involved knows for a fact they're operating under the exact same protective legal canopy. And this brilliantly illustrates the balance the law actually strikes. On one hand, the central government has the power to make highly specific rules, classifying seafarers into different specialized categories, figuring out the minimum crew scales needed, and setting entirely different scales for different classes of vessels. It's a very structural, organized approach. But regardless of what specific category a seafarer falls into or what class of ship they're on, those universal protections granting key worker status, they apply to all of them. So you've got highly specific structures, but truly universal safety. But of course, every great story has its boundaries. Let's check out the rule exceptions. While the protections are vast, the law lays out exactly who operates outside of the specific framework. Just picture the different scenes out on the water. If a ship is navigating exclusively in rivers, inland waters, or sheltered port areas, it operates under different local laws. If a vessel is out casting nets and strictly fishing, it's exempt here. If we're looking at a traditionally built wooden vessel, like a magnificent dhow or a junk, they're carved right out of these rules too. And finally, the stark gray vessels of war or naval auxiliaries, totally exempt. The law is super precise about setting the stage specifically for commercial maritime shipping. All right, let's talk about the ultimate shield in all this, the compliance certificate. So, how do we actually guarantee these massive commercial ships are safe for our maritime heroes? Enter the Declaration of Maritime Labor Compliance. This is a crucial document issued directly by the central government or an officially authorized organization. Think of it as the ultimate shield of protection. It is a formal declaration proving, without a shadow of a doubt, that a specific vessel fully meets all the rigorous standards set by the Maritime Labor Convention. It is basically the golden ticket that turns abstract legal jargon into a tangible, lived reality for the crew on board. And here is the absolute kicker. No vessel is permitted to proceed to sea unless it possesses this valid certificate, period. The law doesn't make this a casual suggestion. It makes it an absolute prerequisite. If a covered ship does not have its declaration of maritime waiver compliance in hand, that epic voyage is stopped before it even begins. It ensures that safety and labor standards aren't just an afterthought, but the very first checkpoint before hitting the open ocean.
Furthermore, this safety net is incredibly wide. Every single registered Indian vessel is subject to these conditions, naturally, but it definitely doesn't stop there. Every foreign vessel, while operating within the jurisdiction of India, must also possess a certificate granted in accordance with these exact same provisions. So whether the ship flies a domestic flag or a foreign one, the second it enters the covered jurisdiction, it absolutely must prove it operates under these rigorous standards of maritime protection.
Finally, let's explore the climax of this legal text, the shared burden, and who takes the fall if protections fail. Visually, this functions like two massive, strong pillars holding up the entire law. First, the ship owner and the recruitment service provider share these operational duties. Second, and this is where the law really shows its teeth, they are jointly and severally liable. That means a claimant can go after both of them together or either one individually for the full penalty amount. If something goes south, they can't just point fingers at each other. They completely share the legal burden. And the third step really drives it home. For the purposes of specific offenses and penalties, the recruitment service provider is legally deemed to actually be the ship owner. No loopholes, no escaping. Accountability is shared, strong, and deeply enforced. To wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this thought. Just take a look at the device you're watching this on right now. Think about the clothes you're wearing or the coffee you drank this morning. As these essential key workers navigate the globe, how much of your daily life actually relies on this invisible, legally protected maritime network? By understanding these maritime labor standards, we aren't just learning about dry legal compliance. We're uncovering the magnificent, structured world that safely powers our modern human experience. Thanks so much for joining me on this voyage of discovery. Keep asking questions and keep exploring.